On a freezing night in December 2006, Greensboro police entered a quiet apartment on Meadowwood Drive and found evidence of violence before they found any sign of its occupant. The rooms were in disarray. Chairs had been knocked aside, furniture had shifted, and reddish smears marked the pale walls. The bathroom was worse. Its floor was coated with a slick film of cleaning chemicals, and the sharp odor of bleach hung in the air alongside something metallic and rotten. Investigators shut off the lights and covered the bathroom in luminol. Under the chemical's blue fluorescence, the room transformed into a map of hidden blood. Traces illuminated the tiles, the bathtub, the sink, and the lower walls. Someone had been attacked there with extraordinary force. Someone had then spent considerable effort trying to erase what had happened. But the woman who lived in the apartment, 27-year-old Cheri Jackson, was missing. Her vehicle remained in the parking lot. Her phone continued ringing from inside the home. Outside the apartment, the man who claimed to be her devoted partner appeared agitated, sweating, and unable to stay still. His name was DeCarlo Bennett. The explanation for Cheri's disappearance would not emerge for almost 2 years. Cheri Jackson was born on the 1st of April, 1980, in Burke County, North Carolina, and grew up in Asheville with her parents, MacArthur and Clara. Family members remembered her as warm, generous, and unusually attentive to other people's needs. She was the child who noticed when someone was hurting and tried to make that person feel better. At Asheville High School, Cheri built a reputation for achievement. She earned honor roll recognition, became a cheerleader, and was selected as homecoming queen. Yet Asheville, despite being the place where she was raised, could not contain the future she imagined. After graduation, she moved roughly 2 hours away to Greensboro and enrolled at the University of North Carolina at Greensboro. Her professional ambitions shifted when she found work at Shipman Family Care. She put her degree on hold and accepted a full-time position as a family and healthcare coordinator. Her responsibilities involved adults living with physical and mental disabilities, people who often depended on others for basic support and daily stability. Cheri embraced the work. Colleagues saw someone patient, upbeat, and deeply invested in the people under her care. She had meaningful employment, close friends, and what appeared to be a promising life ahead. Then she met DeCarlo Bennett, a local club promoter known throughout Greensboro's nightlife scene. Their relationship began with the familiar appearance of instant attraction. Bennett was social, confident, and attentive. Cheri believed she had found someone who valued her. Over time, that image deteriorated. Bennett began monitoring her phone and demanding constant updates about where she was and who she was with. Criticism became humiliation. Arguments became explosive. His concern turned into surveillance, and affection became control. Cheri continued showing up at work, caring for her patients, and maintaining a composed public image while concealing the damage taking place in private. By the end of 2006, she had reached a decision. Cheri intended to leave Bennett and begin the new year without him. She was making those plans quietly, aware that the relationship had become unsafe. What she did not know was that the moment an abused partner attempts to escape can become the most perilous point in the entire relationship. Sunday, November 26, was supposed to be an ordinary night of celebration. Cheri had arranged to attend a party with coworkers. Earlier that day, she spoke with friends about the evening and sounded excited. She enjoyed getting dressed up, going out, and dancing with people she trusted. The party began after nightfall. Music played, guests arrived, and Cheri's friends waited near the entrance expecting her to appear. The minutes accumulated, then the hours. The gathering ended, but Cheri never arrived. No call explained the change. No message came through. Attempts to reach her phone eventually went to voicemail. The absence was immediately alarming because it was inconsistent with her habits. Cheri was reliable. If she changed plans, she told people. Vanishing without a word was not something her friends recognized as normal behavior. While they kept trying to reach her that Sunday night, investigators later concluded that a violent confrontation had already taken place inside her apartment. Monday morning brought another warning. Cheri's desk at Shipman Family Care was empty. She had worked there for years and had never missed a shift without notifying her employer. Coworkers called her repeatedly, but the phone remained unavailable. By Tuesday, concern had become panic. Then Friday arrived, payday. Cheri had always collected her paycheck. When it remained untouched at the front desk, her colleagues understood that the situation was no longer a simple missed outing or unexplained absence. Two of her closest co-workers drove to the Meadowood Drive complex. Cheri's car was still in its customary parking space. It was locked and showed no obvious damage. That suggested she might still be inside. The two women climbed the stairs, knocked on the apartment door, and called her name. The hallway remained silent. After knocking again with no response, they contacted the Greensboro Police Department and reported her missing. The circumstances were stark. A dependable young woman had disappeared for days. Her phone was silent, her paycheck was unclaimed, and her car sat outside her home. Officers obtained authorization to enter on the 3rd of December, 2006. The apartment immediately suggested a struggle. Chairs had been overturned and furniture displaced. The disturbance extended toward the bathroom, where the odor of cleaning products was overwhelming. The floor was so slippery that it seemed recently scrubbed, as if someone had attempted to remove a large quantity of biological evidence. Forensic personnel darkened the room and applied luminol. Blue illumination spread across surfaces that appeared clean under ordinary light. Blood had reached the floor, the side of the tub, the walls, and other fixtures. The pattern indicated not a small household accident, but a severe assault followed by a deliberate cleanup. As technicians collected samples, DeCarlo Bennett entered the apartment. He was Cheri's former boyfriend, although the relationship's exact status would become part of the investigation. Bennett looked distressed. He perspired heavily, paced near the entrance, and asked officers what had happened. During questioning, Bennett said he had last spoken with Cheri on November 26. He claimed he had visited her apartment that evening, eaten a meal she prepared, and watched her get ready for the party. According to his account, an argument began because he disliked the clothing she intended to wear. He considered the outfit too revealing and demanded that she change. Bennett told detectives the disagreement escalated, after which he became angry and left. His version placed Cheri alive and alone in the apartment when he drove away. Then he supplied information investigators had not previously known. Cheri was approximately 3 months pregnant with his child. Bennett portrayed himself as an excited future father and insisted that such a pregnancy gave him every reason to protect Cheri, not harm her. Investigators listened, documented the statement, and began testing it against information from her family and associates. MacArthur Jackson told detectives that several weeks before Cheri disappeared, she had called him late at night in fear. She said a man was inside her apartment and would not leave. Her father spoke directly to the man over the phone and ordered him to leave his daughter alone. Cheri never identified the man by name. That raised an immediate question. Had the intruder been Bennett, or had another person entered Cheri's life and placed her in danger? Investigators also learned that Cheri had recently reconnected with an old boyfriend named Reggie. His family owned Shipman Family Care, and he and Cheri had remained close. Reggie said the two of them had planned to attend the November 26 party together. When Cheri failed to appear, he went to her apartment and knocked. No one answered. Police checked his movements and confirmed his account through witnesses, eliminating him as a serious suspect. Attention returned to Bennett. Detectives obtained Cheri's phone records and reconstructed the final known activity on the day she vanished. The last outgoing call from her phone had been placed to a man named Andre. Investigators located Andre and brought him in for an interview. He explained that he knew Cheri through Bennett, but his account introduced a much darker portrait of the relationship. Andre had personally observed Bennett's jealousy and controlling conduct. Cheri had confided in him privately, telling him that she was afraid of Bennett and wanted to end the relationship. Bennett, according to Andre, refused to accept the breakup. Detectives then secured Bennett's phone records. If his story was accurate, the records should have shown repeated attempts to contact a missing pregnant partner. Instead, the records revealed a complete absence of calls to Cheri after the night of November 26. Not one attempt appeared. That contradicted Bennett's presentation as a frantic man searching for the woman he loved. He had told officers he was worried, yet he had not dialed her number once after she vanished. The silence was not merely suspicious. It suggested that Bennett already knew calls would not reach Cheri because he knew what had happened to her. A search of police records uncovered another critical detail. Officers had previously responded to a domestic disturbance at the apartment. During that incident, Cheri had visible scratches and marks on her body. She minimized the confrontation and protected Bennett, apparently out of fear. No charges were filed at the time. The prior violence, the abusive relationship, the blood evidence in the bathroom, Bennett's contradictory account, and his unexplained lack of contact formed a powerful circumstantial case. Detectives called him back for another formal interview. Bennett repeated the same basic narrative. He had prepared or eaten dinner with Cheri, objected to her clothing, argued with her, and left the apartment. Near the end of the interrogation, detectives asked for permission to search his vehicle. Bennett paused briefly, then handed over the keys. He appeared to believe the car had been cleaned sufficiently to conceal anything incriminating. The assumption failed immediately. Forensic technicians found dark stains on the vehicle's interior fabric and collected them for testing. When the trunk was opened, investigators were struck by an overpowering odor of decomposition. The smell was unmistakable and so intense that officers had to step away to breathe. Something that had been decaying had been inside the trunk for days. Confronted with the stains and the odor, Bennett produced an explanation without hesitation. He claims Cheri had cut her finger while preparing dinner. According to him, he had gone to the car for a rag, and her blood had somehow transferred into the vehicle during the minor accident. The explanation could not account for the circumstances. A small kitchen cut did not explain a hidden blood pattern, a bathroom covered in luminol-positive traces, or the unmistakable smell of a decomposing body in the trunk. Investigators believe Bennett had attacked Cheri in the bathroom, transported her body in his vehicle, and concealed it somewhere afterward. But suspicion was not enough. The DNA results had not yet arrived, and Cheri's remains had not been located. Without the body or laboratory confirmation, prosecutors warned that an immediate murder charge might not survive in court. Police collected a cheek swab from Bennett and allowed him to leave. At the same time, a covert surveillance team began following him. Investigators hoped the pressure would cause him to panic or lead them to the place where Cheri had been hidden. Bennett quickly departed Greensboro and drove toward Durham, creating distance between himself and the investigation. Several days later, the state crime laboratory delivered the result that transformed suspicion into proof. The blood recovered from Bennett's vehicle belonged to Cheri Jackson. It was mixed with Bennett's blood. The evidence indicated that Bennett had been injured during the attack, leaving his blood combined with Cheri's inside the car. On the 14th of December 2006, officers located him in Wake Forest, North Carolina. They surrounded him, forced him to the ground, and arrested him for first-degree murder. Bennett was in custody, but he refused to explain where Cheri was. He offered no location, no confession, and no assistance to her parents. The silence continued through the months that followed and eventually stretched into years. For MacArthur and Clara Jackson, the absence of a body created a second kind of suffering. Their daughter was gone, but there could be no funeral, no final viewing, and no grave to visit. Each day brought the same unanswered possibility that Cheri's remains might still be found, paired with the fear that they might never be recovered. Inside the Guilford County Jail, Bennett retained an experienced defense team and declined to answer homicide investigators. His legal strategy depended heavily on the missing body. No body murder prosecutions are difficult because defense attorneys can argue that the alleged victim left voluntarily, that the evidence has been misinterpreted, or that another person caused the death. Prosecutors possess the blood from the car, the bathroom evidence revealed by luminol, and the history of domestic violence. Still, without remains, the defense could argue that the state had not established the precise circumstances of death beyond a reasonable doubt. Investigators continued searching. Teams moved through forests and dense brush. Divers examined cold lakes and muddy river edges. Cadaver dogs were deployed at abandoned buildings, landfills, isolated roads, and other locations. Helicopters scanned broad areas with thermal imaging equipment. The searches continued across Greensboro and neighboring counties. Tips were evaluated. Leads were exhausted. Public land was examined repeatedly. Month after month, nothing was found. By the middle of 2008, approximately 19 months had passed since Cheri vanished. The investigation had reached a standstill. Then in June, the district attorney received an unexpected call from Bennett's defense attorney. After more than a year behind bars and watching prosecutors accumulate evidence against him, Bennett wanted a negotiated resolution. He offered to draw a map identifying the place where Cheri had been buried. The condition was substantial. In exchange for revealing the location, Bennett wanted the first-degree murder charge reduced to second-degree murder. The original charge exposed him to life imprisonment without parole or potentially the death penalty. A second-degree conviction would carry a significantly lighter sentence. The district attorney faced two competing outcomes. Rejecting the offer could preserve the possibility of the harshest punishment, but a trial might end in acquittal or a hung jury, leaving Cheri's body lost indefinitely. Accepting the offer would reduce the punishment for a violent killer, but it could finally return Cheri to her family. The prosecutor contacted MacArthur and Clara and explained the legal risk. Cheri's parents wanted the strongest possible justice for their daughter. Yet after nearly 2 years without her remains, the need to bring her home outweighed the desire for a more severe charge. They agreed to the plea arrangement. In late June 2008, detectives met with Bennett in a private room. He took a sheet of paper and began drawing. Roads, property lines, landmarks, and trees appeared on the page. He then identified the location. On the night of the murder, Bennett said, he had placed Cheri's body in the trunk and driven to Gramercy Park, a Greensboro neighborhood where his mother had once lived. He went to the property, removed Cheri from the vehicle, carried her into the backyard, and buried her beneath the ground. Police mobilized immediately. Cruisers, forensic vehicles, excavation equipment, and investigators converged on the address. Bennett's mother no longer owned the house. A new family had purchased it months earlier, and the homeowners were stunned to learn that their suburban backyard might contain the remains of a missing woman. The area was sealed. Floodlights were installed. Crews brought out shovels, screens, and soil sifting equipment. For 13 hours, investigators dug trenches and examined the earth. They worked through oppressive summer heat and continued into the humid night, turning over the property one section at a time. By midnight, the search had produced nothing. The teams were exhausted, filthy, and frustrated. The empty ground raised the possibility that Bennett had deliberately sent investigators to the wrong place to prolong the family's suffering. Detectives returned to the jail and confronted him with the map. Bennett insisted that the information was truthful. He claimed nearly 2 years of changes to the yard had distorted his memory and made it impossible to identify the precise burial spot on paper. Then he proposed a different solution. He asked to be taken to the property in person. If he could stand in the backyard, he said, he would be able to identify the location. On the 26th of June 2008, a police convoy returned to Gramercy Park. A marked cruiser stopped near the property, and Bennett emerged wearing an orange jail uniform. His wrists and ankles were restrained with chains. Officers, forensic specialists, and state investigators watched as he crossed the driveway and entered the backyard. Bennett surveyed the grass, trees, and surrounding boundaries. He moved toward the rear corner of the property, stopped, looked down, and indicated a specific patch of ground. Cheri was there. Technicians marked the location and began a controlled excavation. This time, heavy machinery was avoided. Investigators used hand tools, brushes, and small trowels, removing the soil gradually to protect whatever evidence remained below. Approximately 90 minutes into the work, a tool contacted something solid. The technicians brushed away the remaining dirt and exposed Cheri Jackson's remains. She had been underground for 578 days. Her remains were carefully removed, wrapped, and transported under police escort to the chief medical examiner. Pathologists then examined the evidence in an effort to determine how she had died. The autopsy documented extensive trauma. Cheri's head and facial bones showed injuries consistent with repeated blows from a blunt object. The final cause of death, however, was manual strangulation. Bennett had beaten Cheri in the bathroom and then used his hands to choke her. The woman he had monitored, threatened, and refused to release had fought for her life in the same room where investigators later found the hidden blood evidence. Because Cheri was approximately 3 months pregnant, the murder ended 2 lives. Her unborn child had no opportunity to be born, and Cheri never had the chance to become a mother. With the remains recovered and the medical findings completed, the negotiated case moved towards sentencing. In late 2008, Bennett appeared in Guilford County Court. MacArthur and Clara sat together in the front row, holding hands as the man responsible for their daughter's death sat restrained at the defense table. Under the agreement, Bennett pleaded guilty to second-degree murder. The judge imposed the maximum sentence permitted for that charge under North Carolina law, 13 years in prison. To Cheri's family and the wider community, the punishment felt painfully inadequate. 13 years for a violent killing that also ended an unborn child's life seemed impossibly short. Yet the reduced charge had been the price of recovering Cheri's remains and giving her parents the burial they had been denied for so long. Bennett served roughly 12 years and 4 months. In January 2021, he completed the required term and was released from prison. He returned to society as a free man. Cheri never reached 30. She never returned to college, never raised her child, and never continued the work that had given purpose to her life. Her future was taken after she attempted to separate herself from an abusive partner. Her friends, relatives, and community advocates refused to let the case disappear with the passage of time. In the aftermath, they created a nonprofit organization in her name focused on domestic violence, education, awareness, and prevention. Its work highlighted the warning signs that had surrounded Cheri's relationship: possessiveness, isolation, obsessive jealousy, control over clothing, demands for constant access, and sudden changes in mood. Her case also demonstrated a critical danger recognized by domestic violence researchers. Leaving can trigger an escalation in violence. The period when a victim attempts to end the relationship or physically separate from an abuser is often the point at which the risk of severe assault or homicide rises most sharply. Cheri had not caused the violence against her. She was a devoted daughter, a trusted friend, a caregiver, and a woman trying to reclaim control of her own life. Bennett's conduct turned ordinary acts of independence into alleged provocations, and the legal system ultimately traded a harsher charge for the location of her grave. The case left behind several unresolved failures: the warning signs that were hidden or minimized, the earlier domestic violence call that produced no charges, the danger surrounding Cheri's attempt to leave, and a sentence that ended far sooner than the life taken from her. Cheri Jackson's name now survives through the people who loved her and through the prevention work created in her memory. Her story remains a warning that controlling behavior is not affection, jealousy is not devotion, and the moment an abusive relationship ends may require the greatest protection of all: